What's up, She Sells girlies? This is episode 11, and we dive deep into the nuances of remote closing so you understand the pros, the cons. We also have a very special secret that we're announcing at the end, so listen in. I know you're going to love it. Hello. Welcome to episode 11, guys. I'm here with my husband.
Yes, and I'm here with my wife, and we are together. We are She Sells. So what's going on, everyone? Super exciting episode, very jam-packed, and I'm excited to get into it.
I am too. Yeah. This episode is going to be really fantastic.
Very fantastic. It's going to be super fantastic.
For anyone who... It's really going to explore the nuances of what it's like to be a remote salesperson. We're going to do some myth busting. We're also going to talk about some success stories that are coming from the She Sells girls, which are just like give me goosebumps when I talk about them because we're finally starting to see, the result of all the hard work that they're doing in showing up to the training, and it's really beautiful. It's
contagious. It really is.
And then we have a very special announcement at the end.
Oh my god, little hook! You've got to listen to the end, guys.
Got to listen. I'm not going to say it before the end.
Got to listen to the end.
Not good at keeping secrets though, so it might come out.
Yeah, that's very true. I can back that. I already know what's planned for my birthday, like at the end of this year. So that's how good Brooke is with secrets.
Okay.
But let's get into it.
All right. So I want to talk about, first of all, when you look at someone from the outside, you're looking in. So you might see someone on Instagram and they're posting their perfect life. And we all know social media, it's a highlight reel. But it's easy to get yourself caught in that trap. It's like, I want that life. I want that to be me. And I think a big one for all of us, like since COVID really, is like, I want to work from home. Like I want that remote lifestyle. And the truth of the matter is like, it's fantastic. We love working from home. But at the same time, there are pros and cons to anything. Massive pros and cons. Yeah. Like you know me, I love being social. There are times where I finish my day and I'm like, get me out of this house before I like literally blow up.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna caveat this by saying like, I love working remote far more than not working remote, but you're right, there is pros and cons, especially situations. So like, I guess we'll go into the cons first, right? So like, what do you feel like is the biggest con in working remote?
It's just isolating.
Yeah.
Agreed. And like, come on, we all know, like, let's just not pretend. Like when you're in an office, you don't do much work. You're just talking the whole time. Well, that was certainly my experience of working in an office. Teaching, not so much, obviously, because you still have that isolated feeling as in like being in your own classroom. But like definitely when I was in an office in a corporate role, like we just talk the entire day.
See, I never worked in office, right? Like my drawing a distinction between the two is like working underground in like 38-degree heat. So like it's great for me, but 100%, like it can be very isolating.
And like just as an example, like when I used to work in an office, like if Cookai used to be my favorite back in the day, that if they were having a sale, like I would literally leave the office and me and my girlfriend would go shopping for the rest half day, come back, finish off our emails, go home. So like, come on, do you really work that hard?
Yeah, 100%. So no, it's really interesting that you bring this up today because like I literally had a chat with one of the girls on our sales team and she's like, so her husband works away, right? And she's like, man, like I'm just feeling like I'm on my own. It's like there's not really much going on. It's like just me in my house on my own. So like I don't really have anyone to like decompress and stuff like that. And I was like, that's so true. Like it is so true, especially like in the game of sales because it's so up and it's so down. So like we were lucky. We were fortunate because we kind of got into the industry at the same time. So we could always bounce off each other. We also had like David, your brother, who got into it too. And we would like all get together in the house and kind of sell together.
Yeah, Sales Cave.
The Sales Cave. Yep, shout out. But there was definitely moments where like, especially like when you went away and I was doing that like night shift and like humanity just like disappeared for me because like I was working night shift and it's just me in the room working on my computer long hours and then going to bed, waking up and doing the same thing. So like it was very lonely. And you can back that up.
Oh my God. Yes, I could. I would ring Scott during that period and he'd be like, hello.
Miserable.
I'd be like, I'm all excited because like I'm on my way to Cancun. I'm on like one of the biggest podcasts ever, like living my best life. And Scott's just like,
buzzkill. Yeah.
Yeah. Miserable.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
Anyway, like it can be super isolating. And I think,
Massively.
you know, if we look at our entry into sales, yes, we had each other, but I certainly didn't have any other women around that I could lean on and that I could like literally be like, oh my goodness, like I'm having one of those days. I didn't have anybody.
Yes.
And so it was really hard for me. And I did fall into my masculine, I actually was in my masculine like quite a bit because I was around you and David. I was like ringing bells and like, you know, constantly being on leaderboards and just like didn't have a moment to really drop into my feminine and just like, you know, have a chit chat with a woman who could understand and I could decompress to.
That's so true. Yeah, it really is like the people that you do it with as well. And like I was kind of fortunate because when I got into it and we kind of just like all made this happen ourselves, but we would have like what we call like the boiler room, right? Which is we would like very masculine.
Much to my disgust.
Yeah.
Really...
So what we would do, right, is it's actually really funny. So we would all join on Zoom because this is when we were doing phone calls, but we were also doing Zooms as well. Another story.
I don't think I was in the boiler room.
No, you were never in there.
Yeah,
no. So it was like all the guys that would sell on the account, we would hop in Zoom, we would go on mute, right? And we just so we could see each other. We'd all be doing sales calls and we'd just be chatting shit in the chat thing. So like it was like we had that like we were in an office vibe. And then every now and again when we were on a call, we would like share, like we would do like live sales calls and stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah. But you know, that was what gave me that sense of like, it's not super lonely, but like if there were days where that wasn't happening, like 100%, it's just kind of like you and your computer, like it can be.
Well, you get in your own head. It's like impossible not to. Like you have a bunch of cancellations or a bunch of no-shows or like you get in your own head, like you start to just feel it even more. Yeah. Because in an office, you can change your environment. You can go for a walk. Like you can go for a walk if you're in your own home too. But like what I mean is you can grab someone, go for a walk, go get a coffee, you know, go do some retail therapy if you really wanted to. And I'm not saying you can't do that as a remote closer. You absolutely can. But it's just like the feeling of being by yourself. And we all think that autonomy and that independence is great. But like even when I was driving around like selling, you know, when I was doing like my territory network, like
which is what I literally thought sales was.
Exactly. And what we thought would be the best job in the world. When I got that, we celebrated. We were like, oh my God, that's the sickest job ever.
You get your own car, your own laptop, and you just drive around to businesses.
It was the worst job ever. Yeah, right. And so like that autonomy and that independence that I so badly wanted because I saw it, other people have it, and because I'd been in the classroom the whole time, so it was so new and shiny to me. But it ended up being like the worst job in the world. Like I had no one to talk to. I was only talking to business owners who like, they're not a great chat, but.
And you couldn't even ring me, I don't think, because I was probably on what was I doing?
You were at the gyms. Okay. Yeah, so you were living the life, the actual life.
You did used to ring me. Yeah. And I'd be like doing split shifts and be in the middle of the day and I'm like at the park, like walking.
I know.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And like okay. When jobs say that you get all this independence and autonomy, that's not entirely true. Like I had to have my laptop open and I was being tracked. Like that I was actually, do you remember that?
Yeah,
so my clock off time was meant to be 5:30 and the gym session that I would want to go to that Scott was actually coaching was 5:15. And so like I would go to the gym and I'd have to leave my laptop open because they were tracking like the time that I clock on and off. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah.
That's so wild.
It's like, wild, eh?
Anywho, like I guess what we're saying is like society, like they sort of glorify the lone wolf sales mentality. Yeah. You know, like they glorify that. But in actual fact, like having a community and people to lean on is what makes sales so amazing.
100%. Just having people to like decompress with and just like bounce ideas off, but also like laugh about shit that happens, right? Like, you know, every now and again a prospect will kind of slap you in the face, right? They'll like be belligerent. They will hang up on you. Like these things happen, right? And if you're just like sitting there like miserable, you like it just weighs on you like a sack of shit. But if there's like a bunch of people around you and you say that and everyone just kind of laughs at the thing and they're like, oh yeah, that literally happened to me like yesterday. You're like, like, okay, that's right. This is actually normal. This is just part of the game.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You need that place. Otherwise, like it just wears on you. It really
totally. And like, you know, if I had she sales going into remote sales, my journey would have been very different.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have anxiety like really bad. Like I would finish so my day, because as everyone knows my story, like I couldn't leave teaching for a long time, even when I was selling, even when I was making 20K a month. I was doing both. I was still going out to classrooms, running my sessions, coming home, doing sales calls, was waking up at 6 a.m. doing sales calls. But I remember in the mornings, I'd get up, I'd do my calls, I'd finish at 10 a.m. and then I would go to my first class. The whole drive there, I would literally like be on the verge of having a panic attack. And it had a lot to do with like the environment that I was in. It was very toxic, very, very overly competitive. And obviously that's who I'm, a competitive person. I like to be at the top. But it wasn't bringing out the best in me. And so like I would literally, if I saw like the business owner ring me, I'd be like, oh my God, what have I done? What's happened? Have I had someone cancel? If I saw a notification in the cancellations channel. So, you know, if you're not familiar with Slack is like Messenger for a workplace. And so
it's like The Office.
Yeah.
The Office,
and so like some channels you just didn't want to be in. Cancellations was one of them.
And like the sales channel, you definitely want to be in that one.
You want to be in Boom City for sure. Like Boom City was going off with your name. That's great. But cancellations, it's when someone's complained about you or someone wants to cancel off the back of a sales conversation. And it just is not a nice thing to read. And because the company that I worked for was so big, you didn't get a lot of support in cancellations. It was very much like you either say them or say goodbye to your commissions. And so like, you know, when you deal with that and you know that your job has been done, assuming it was done ethically and you actually did help someone say yes to themselves and they sign, and then, you know, a couple of days later they come in and they're like, this isn't what I thought, I want to cancel, to then be put to have that thrown back to you, that's like kick in the guts. You know, it's like, hey, I did my job. I showed up. I connected with this person. I got them to essentially sign on the, I shouldn't say I got them to, they felt compelled to sign on the dotted line. And now I'm being palmed back when they've come in and seen fulfillment and it hasn't been what they said. You know, like there was always issues around that. It's like, whose responsibility does that lie? And as always, there's always growth from every, you know, every failure or whatever. So I learned to be good at cancellation calls because that would happen a lot for me. You know, I am very good at influencing and inspiring people to say yes and take that step off the wrong train, until I'm not there and they're back in their own head and they you know, they're in the rain and they're like, holy shit, I like, oh my God, how do I get back on the train?
Well, that's the funny thing about sales, right? The better you get at it, and like, the better you get at it, the more sales that you make, the more people will eventually want to pull out, right? Because you're exactly right. You have that interaction with someone, now they're empowered, they're like, fuck yeah, I can do this. They jump off the phone, they go back into the exact same environment they were at, that bred the limiting belief. You're not there. It's like, oh wow, like, okay, here I am. So it's like that the cancellations, refunds are a thing. Oh,
totally. Right? They are a thing.
And if the better you are, the more that you can capture people getting out of that limiting belief and actually get them to be like, I can do better.
Exactly.
But the moment you're not there, like that, you know.
Well, exactly. You're essentially, 30 to an hour call that you're trying to reframe someone's limiting belief that they've held for the last 10 years. Like that's
or even longer.
That's exactly challenging. Right. So when you're not there, you know, and you get that cancellation and maybe you've got $1,000 in commissions just kind of floating now and it's like, So I used to have full on anxiety and like I had no one to talk to that about. Literally no one. And I see in the She Sells community, it is honestly like I don't have the right words to explain.
Could you imagine if we had something like She Sells when we were getting into it?
That's literally what I'm saying. Like I cannot find the right words to explain the power of a community. I mean, we were lucky enough. We got to see a community in Chatswood and we were like, wow.
Yes.
Like, wow.
That's so true.
Like, wow, a community who actually wants to be here and who likes you. Like, that's amazing. But I've never seen a community of women support each other and hold space for each other like I do the She Sells community. It is wild. Honestly, like I've got women on there being like, guys, I'm really struggling with my 9 to 5. I had to go back today and, you know, being in this group is getting me through. Like, what?
Yeah.
And then I've got women who have been like, I've made my first sale and there's like 100 comments of women celebrating her.
If that doesn't pump you up, eh? Like what does?
Like, fuck Boom City. Get in She Sells and post your sale. Because I post that one of our girls got a job and that she's had an incredible growth transformation. And there is literally 120 comments of women. And they're not just like, well done. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You deserve every bit of success. I can't wait to watch you absolutely thrive in 2025. Like, I'm sorry. There is nothing better than feeling supported by a community.
No, there really isn't.
And I'm just going to tie this all together.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I would have had to experience those panic attacks and that anxiety, that real deep anxiety that I felt if I had a community.
Yeah, because you would have just spoken about it. You would have been like, hey guys, this is how I'm feeling. And everyone's like, hey, I also have felt like that or am feeling like that now. Like, let's chat about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It just takes the power away from it. That's what it is. It's, it's the same thing I was saying about the boiler room. It's like, yeah, I'd have like 10 calls back to back. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't sold a single person. Like, I fucking suck at sales. Like, I'm not going to make money. We're going to lose the house. Like, like that's where your brain goes. But then you speak to, the rest of the sales team. They're like, man, tell me about it. I haven't made a sale for the last 2 days. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay.
I'm not so bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm the top of the bottom.
You make all the sales. So it's like, hey, we're all crushing it. It's just like having other people there just makes it normalizes it, takes the power away.
Exactly. I have some girls in the Slack channel and they say to me, oh my God, I just have I'm feeling this. And I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you put that in school? Because I guarantee if you're feeling that, then someone else has felt it too.
Exactly.
And the feedback that you're going to get is going to help not only you, it's going to help so many other women. And it has that ripple effect that we can't even comprehend. One way that I've seen this, transpire in front of me is when I first started She Sells. It was just me talking about it. I was on my Instagram, I was on my stories, I was talking about what I was actually doing as a remote closer. So the day in a life, when I got a no sale, again, to try and normalize it, to expose the industry in a good way, just to expose people to, what it was like. And when my girls first started, it was like, I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to share anything. And I'm like, you don't have to. You literally don't have to when you're a remote closer. That's totally fine. But as time has gone on and because of the cheerleaders in She Sells and how supported they feel compelled to share their story because now they know that the ripple effect it's going to have. If it reaches one person, if it changes one life, if it gets them to experience the magic of She Sells, of course it's worth it.
Yeah.
So most of the She Sells closers have started their own brand, their own remote closing Instagram where they talk about their journey as a closer. And I'm like, I look on that and I'm like, I just feel so proud because that ripple effect that I had, I couldn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
And now it's gone far beyond what I could ever imagine. I can't see the conversations that are being had, the impact, who it's reaching.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It's so interesting, right? Because we went through that ourselves. And you massively, because you were like, man, I don't really know if I want people to know that I'm a salesperson.
Why do you think that was?
Well, it has that stigma. And that's a massive part of what we're doing with all this is just trying to change that stigma, right? It's changing what people think of sales.
Yeah.
And I completely get it because we obviously went through that. People would ask me what I would do and I'd be like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to say a sales rep. So I would jazz it up and be like, oh, I'm a sales consultant. And what's that? And I'm like, oh, I make sales. On the phone, cold call, like a telemarketer. I'm like, fuck. How do we get here? No, it's not.
I know. Literally today.
I'm like, hey, do you want to sit down for an hour and I'll explain it to you? I'm not going to do that. So
it's not an hour. It's a sentence. I don't get it. Literally today, one of our sales girls was like, hey, do we have this kind of insurance? Because my broker cannot get his head around what I do. And I'm like, how can he not get his head around what you do? Okay, let break it down.
Yeah.
You are an online sales rep.
I don't know. I don't know how it's, it really is though. It's interesting, but it's one of I was just saying before, we do get it, and also people are kind of because you take that leap of faith, you put yourself in a position where you're like, whoa, it's a little bit scary. I haven't proven this yet, and seeing all the girls now getting that success, proving it to themselves, proving it more importantly to themselves, but to their immediate circle. Now they have the confidence to go out there, the socials, things like that, and start to be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing, because they have the success behind them. So. Very exciting.
It is so exciting. I was literally just thinking, I got caught in a bit of a gaze there because I was just thinking about some of the success that I've seen come through school at the moment. And I'm just like, I don't have words. I don't have words. I can sit here and be like, I'm so proud, and I am, but that doesn't even come close to what I'm feeling in my body.
I know. Yeah.
The overwhelming gratitude and just there's no words. There's no words. There's only a feeling that I have, and it's warm and fuzzy, and it's beautiful. I want this feeling to stay forever.
Well, let's talk about some of the successes, because like it is getting to that point now where like She Sells has been like properly operating now for, well, I did a post on this a few days ago, right? Which it's been kind of like 7 months really, like that we did a hard, kind of like the hard launch. It's been around, yes, longer, but not to the extent that it is now, right?
Yeah.
So we are starting to see those people like really starting to hit their strides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think back to a real big growth period for me. I had one of a She Sells girl, and this is me being extremely transparent and vulnerable. She was in She Sells. We had the Perth catch up, and she was there, and we were getting along fantastically. And then the next day, she's like, "I need to talk to you urgently," and I'm like, "Okay, like sure." And we had a conversation, and she was just like, "I want my money back, like in full." She'd been with me, I think it was like 4 weeks or something. And she's like, I can't make 20K a month working here. And I was like in that moment, I just felt like I needed to defend myself, because I was like, what do you mean? Like, you see people doing it. I did it. Like there's people that are doing it. She's like, I just don't think that I can, and I don't think that you should be marketing this message, and just went on this big rant about all the things that I shouldn't be doing, and that like I am being a fraud and rah rah. And like that rocked me to my core. Like, do you remember after that phone call, I was like, Scott, like, am I doing the right thing here? Like, do I believe in remote sales? Do I believe that this can change women's life? And you had to fully reframe me and be like, are you serious? Like, I reached out to so many women that I knew in the industry, and I'm like, how much have you ever made? Like, I started to just like really feel rocked by that. It totally. Yeah. And for ages, I stopped sharing like the success of remote sales. I started sharing the other side, which I will seriously thank her for getting me to be more transparent around, like, the ups and the highs and the lows. I definitely wasn't as open, but depends who you talk to. Lots of people say that I'm very transparent and open about that, but I was more. And I think because I was doing that, I was actually just pushing people more and more away, instead of like, sales, remote sales is I mean, we know the abundance that it can bring. Yeah. We know we did it. Yeah. We did it. Yeah. And we know people who are doing even better than what we did. Like,
like much better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, we were pretty successful, but like we would look at other people and be like, holy shit.
Yeah. But I wish in that moment that I had that conversation with her, I could have just fast forward into the future and seen this.
Yeah.
And seeing all the success that I'm seeing on school, and just turn to her and say, hey, just give yourself some time. Yeah. Like, be patient.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And like, because of that, and I've now started to see some of the women come through who have been working as a remote closer, or have become certified. They've been working, earning $1,700 in 1 hour.
Yep.
We have one of our women on track to do a 30K month in her first month of remote sales.
Yeah, it's fucking. This is the thing. It just time takes time. Like, it's unreasonable to think that you're going to step in to a brand new industry, brand new skill set in 4 weeks, make $20,000. Like, I'm sorry, like.
But it's like she is actually.
It can happen. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's like,
you're not owed it.
You're not owed it. No,
you're not owed it.
And it's like so because we are recruiting pretty heavily, right, on the She Sells sales team at the moment, and like I now have learned to, like, I massively under promise and over deliver. Like I make it sound like terrible, and then when people come in, they're like, wow, this is amazing. But it's like, I would rather that, right? Yeah. Like, perfect example. Like, we got one of our girls who was absolutely crushing on the setter side, crushing it, superstar. And she ascended now to she moved into a closer. And like, when was that? It was like a week or 2 weeks ago or something, right? And like in her first couple days, she made like $3,500 or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, holy shit. She's like, I was like, what's your goal? She's like, oh, I'm at like 5.5K at the moment. This is like 2 weeks. Well, yeah, I think it's about 2 weeks in, right? She's like, I'm at like 5.5. And I was like, boom, 10K, let's go. Like, first month in closing, 10K, that's what you're going to make. And like, she's going to get that.
Is she going to get up?
We're going to fucking get that.
All right, okay.
And our setter as well.
She's got a whole week.
One of our setters in her first month, this is a setter, guys. One of our setters in the first month, she's like, I was like, what are we going to make this month? She's like, look, I'm on track to hit around like 6, maybe 7. I was like, boom, we're getting to 8, like 8K. as an entry level position.
Entry level position.
Like $8,000 in your first month. Like that's what, $100,000?
Working from home.
She's in Bali. She lives in Bali.
We go to the gym together.
She lives the fucking life in Bali. So it's like, I'm sorry, like it's fucking possible. You just got to work. Like these girls work so fucking hard for it. They do, but like they just show up differently. It's not like I'm saying they're working hard as in like they're just working 24 hours
exactly.
a day.
Don't assume hard with it. The amount of hours. It's like
it's the intensity. That's the difference. It's not
purpose.
Duration. It's intensity and it's the purpose. Like they live and breathe it. Like a guy messaged me actually the other day. He's like, "Oh man, like what would like I would love to hear about your success. Like what did you do to reach the success?" And I just responded back being like, "Obsessed. Just be obsessed. You just gotta love it. Like you just have to be obsessed with what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and you will get there."
Yeah. And I mean, like, come on. We've been around a lot of businesses, online businesses, like for the last 5 years. We've seen a lot of online businesses. Can you honestly say that you've ever witnessed anything like you're seeing at She Sells in our internal team? I mean, gosh, not even in our internal team, in the actual community. I honestly like.
No, it's crazy.
People will never love your business as much as you do, right? We all know that. I disagree.
Yeah, no.
I disagree.
And it's like
if you can create a place where people feel heard, seen, understood, you create a place where people feel like they can grow and have that independence within like how they show up. Like if you make them feel like it's partly their business too.
Well, it is.
It is.
And this is the thing.
I know.
This is because we did an episode on this. Fuck, I don't know when we did it, but like you become an entrepreneur when you move into this industry. Like you do, and like essentially you've got to look at yourself like. When you move into to close for a business, like you are somewhat moving into a partnership with that business, right? And like that's how we always frame it with our girls in She Sells, and that's 1,000,000% how we frame it with all the girls that work within She Sells, the internal team. So like they are all business owners, they are all entrepreneurs within our business. So like that's why they all succeed.
It's insane. It's honestly insane. We have a internal team goal that we set when we were in Melbourne. So there's been some really incredible celebrations that have been happening in the month of January. I met with the Melbourne girls and we did a bit of an internal dinner. So like, because most of our team are in Melbourne, we had a couple of girls fly in, which was just so special. And we got to set
that. There's a lot of people from Melbourne that join She Sells.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. We got to set the tone for 2025. And it was just, gosh, if you have a business like and you're not doing that, like do it.
Yeah.
Because we shared the vision, we shared our intentions, our own personal goals, and we sat at dinner and we did this chant together and we came up with a number that She Sells is going to hit in terms of like the revenue that we want. And when we do hit that number, we're all going to Bora Bora. That's the goal that we made. And let me tell you, the fire that it's lit in the girls' like bellies is like no tomorrow. Yeah. And every time someone gets a sale, they're like, here we come, Bora Bora. So now there's like a team goal.
Yeah.
And this is, again, comes back to community. And sales is not a one-man sport. It's a team sport. Exactly. It is a team sport. And if you have people around you that just want you to win, you will win. And when they win, you will feel like you've won too.
Yeah. And we have that even within the community.
Yes.
It's like the next milestone that we hit. It's like 500 members. Like, we all did
God.
And everyone celebrates. Like, now we're going to get to 1,000 because like everyone just like.
They just want you to win.
Yeah. Everyone just wants to grow.
I think I had like 30-something people share my story, my story yesterday of hitting 500 members.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So crazy.
You know, like you could have people be like, oh my God, she's wanting more. She got 500 members. Like, but no, these women are like, like, let's go.
Yeah, but
like this is just getting started.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just like 500 clients, yes, but it's like 500 women that have literally taken that jump and gone, I want more for myself. I'm taking that leap of faith. Like they've done that.
They've got off the train.
There's 500 women that have done that.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the post that you did, it was like, man, when we very early days, when you were like, this is this thing that we're going to start, like you were like, man, if it's just one, like if it's just one girl, they could do it. Now it's 500.
And she's still with me, that one girl.
Still there. Yeah, exactly.
That one girl that came to me in a moment of like, Brooke, help me. I want to do what you're doing. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
She's still with me. And now she sells for She Sells. And she's one of our coaches. The ripple effect. Let me tell you, the ripple effect, you cannot see the impact that you're having.
And none of this, like, this was just a pipe dream. None of it was proven.
No.
Like now it's like we've got a proven, replicable process that we can just run people through to get them into the position where they can do the same thing.
And not just crush.
Yes.
Crush.
Yes.
Like all the She Sells girls that I know that have been placed are top of the leaderboard. They're crushing. Yeah. They're literally changing the game in remote sales.
Yeah. So I am the head of sales for She Sells, and I only recruit internally. There's a reason for that. It's like
we back our training.
They're fucking killers.
Yeah.
But the most important one is that like they've got that hunger. That is the biggest thing in a salesperson is like just the hunger and the passion. And like what is a really nice thing is that like the women that come into our community, they have to have that to have made that commitment.
Exactly.
So it's like, yeah, if any business owners that are listening to that, I've been very successful with the
hiring.
The hiring process.
We haven't lost one single person.
No, we haven't. We got 100% attrition. Yes, I think that's what you call it, right? 0% churn, whatever you want to call it. So like the biggest thing that I've hired off is like, because skill set is easy. Skill sets can be taught very easily, especially process driven. And that's what we train very heavily is like the process. But the biggest thing that you cannot manufacture is someone's attitude, how they show up, and whether they're going to be a culture fit. Mm. And I can safely say that's probably like 99% of what I employ on. And so far it's been working. So.
Yeah. There's no cliquey groups. There's no like bitchiness. And you would think, I love women. You would think that that's happening, and it doesn't. It just doesn't, because when you're around women who want you to win, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time, there is plenty pieces of the pie for everyone. So people are looking at 500 in an abundant mindset, and they're like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Why would we stop at 500?
Yeah. There
is so many more pieces of the pie for any woman who wants to change their life.
And what's actually really funny is it's a flywheel.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is like the more like women that are getting put out into the workforce that are killers, the more success online businesses will have, which means the more online businesses will grow and start and be successful. The more places, the more opportunity there are, the more money can be made. So it's this constant flywheel.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like they're like, oh no, there's only 10, online businesses, foreclosures.
Gosh,
like, no. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It's exciting. It is exciting. And I mean, how on earth will we celebrate all this success?
Oh, is this the Easter egg that you planted at the very front? Are you there yet?
So it is with great pleasure that I let you all know that we're going to be hosting our very first She Sells Gala to recognize women in sales. And this is going to be a place where anyone in sales can come. You don't have to be a She Sells salesperson. You can be any woman in sales. You can bring along your partner, whoever. There's going to be awards, celebrations, because it is one of those things like we spoke about earlier. It is isolating. But when you have an incredible community of women who become your family, like the energy that's going to be in that room is going to be like no other.
Yeah.
So there's going to be Woman Salesperson of the Year. There's going to be Rookie of the Year. There's going to be Most Potential. I think that's the same thing. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we haven't ironed out the awards yet, but we know it's happening in November in Melbourne. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's like,
we're going to get 1,000 women in a room.
Yeah. It's so like, I'm just so excited for this. Like I seriously,
yeah. Just
because like, yes, it's amazing that we get everyone together, but also like, this is this is the frontier. Like no one's doing this shit. Like it really isn't. Mm-hmm. This is the same thing that like I said to you, like our internal team as well, right? It's like, guys, like this is like super like impactful stuff that's happening.
Mm.
Like to be able to get like 1,000 women or men, right, in a room, because they'll be bringing partners, to be able to like celebrate people having taken that leap, but then also like the success of it. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And like, even if you're listening to this and you're not part of She Sells and you would like to come, you absolutely can, because you can see for yourself, you can speak to people, you can see some online businesses. It's going to be a great place to network.
Yep.
You can see what we're all about, and you can feel the energy. You can feel it for yourself and make up your own assumptions about what we are, what we do. But yeah, I'm really
like, I don't think there's even anything like that in the sales world.
I think like
Like-
industry specific.
Yeah, like real
balls,
estate will have it
real
and stuff
estate
like
has
that, but, like,
one. I know there was a
remote-
teacher's one as
yeah,
well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like the world, like the industry of remote sales, like
Yeah, there's no
it
celebration.
doesn't have that. So like that's what I mean by it's like pioneering up front. Like
Mm-mm. And it's going to be annual. This isn't a one-off. This is annual. November is the month of celebration for remote sales. And like, yeah, who knows? Maybe it will be a celebration of remote sales in general. But right now it's focusing on women in sales because there's not enough of us, and we are exceptional salespeople. And I just want to make sure that we're being recognized for that. So it is going to be magical. Yeah, it's going to be magical. Yeah. I've thought about this for a very long time. So it's like when it's just all coming, like this is happening. Like it's
happening.
not happening. Like November's coming and it's going to happen. And you know,
so
we're
November's the date. We don't have a exact date just yet.
We're still looking for the right venue, and there's all sorts of things happening.
For anyone that is curious, you know, if our wedding is any is any indicator of the extent that we will go to make an event amazing.
It won't be happening unless it's bougie as hell.
Exactly.
Let me just say that.
That's what I'm leaning towards. So no, it's going to be amazing. We're going to put.
I mean, there were talks of like, it's you know what's hilarious.
What?
When I went to the Brisbane catch up, there was like a helicopter flying over, and everyone was laughing, and they were like, "That's how we thought you were going to rock up in a helicopter." And I was like laughing, but secretly I was like, "Oh my god, they know me so well."
Yeah.
And it's funny because I just the other day when we had like actually finalized that the ball was happening and we let the girls know and everyone was talking about it, I started Googling like private jet. And the reason I did that was because there's going to be like 8 or 9 women in Bali that need to get their ass to Melbourne for the event. So I was like, why would we not fly first class?
Yeah, I know. And that'd be wicked. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if it would work out cheaper. It probably would work out cheaper depending on how people can get on.
Anywho, the point is I'm a bougie bitch and I like the finer things in life. So you will not be disappointed by attending this ball.
And that's the intent of the gala as well, right? Because that's why a lot of people do come to us.
It's like such a taboo.
They want to live that life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like own it.
Exactly. Own it. Like it's a taboo topic. We're all here because we want to we want that financial freedom.
Yeah.
Like,
we want to be able to enjoy it. Like
that's the glamorous side of sales is that, yes, it is very, very well paid because of how hard it is.
Yeah.
And because of
how valuable it is.
Exactly right. So like, if you like, we're all going to be there. We've all got the money. We're going to splash it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, then do we leave it there?
We do.
The splashing of the money.
Splashing around some cash. I mean, you've all seen my ads.
Exactly right. Alrighty, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, see you on the next one.